Hello, welcome. You're watching News9 Live. Karnataka is going to elections in less than a month. Every party is hitting the ground running, and we shall figure out which party will succeed and why do people vote in a particular fashion. But one of the most important trends is that now it's almost certain that in Karnataka it's going to be a bipolar context. What are the reasons? That's what we will figure out. Now, with former Chief Minister Jagadish Shettar joining the Congress, things are looking rather shaky for the Bharatiya Janata Party. The veterans' move to quit the Saffron Party is likely to lead to a bipolar contest in the upcoming assembly elections. Shettar and Savadi have both joined the Congress, and the grand old party now has the Lingayat number advantage as well. The Lingayat community forms close to 17 to 18% of Karnataka's voting population and also has a major say in the formation of governments in the state. Moreover, former BJP Chief Minister Yediyurappa had already quit the electoral politics, losing the BJP yet another prominent face in its very stronghold community. How will the BJP balance out Shettar's quitting, and how will this affect the JDS's numbers? Joining me today in this debate is First Step, my colleague, of course, Varghese is joining us, and we will then introduce you to the rest of the guests who shall join me on this broadcast. Varghese, over the years, if you look at it more than 3 decades ago, India, there was coalition politics was introduced in a major fashion, but now as it seems the trend in Karnataka, where a triangular fight has become a rarity. What do you think is the reason? Is the reason that one party has become monolithically very, very strong, or the reverse of it, which means that other parties have rather been weakened?
Well, it is a combination factor of what you said, both. But in Karnataka specifically, out of the 224 assembly seats, we have seen direct contest. Direct contest we have seen in at least 70 seats in the last elections. And the reason why is because there are only 2 parties that dominate the areas of Karnataka when it comes to the north, the central region, in Kalyana or the coastal region, as well as the old Hyderabad Karnataka region. So only South Karnataka is where we technically see a triangular contest, but that is also kind of bipolar, because over there it is mostly between the Congress and the JDS.
Right.
So technically it is like that. So it is how the distributions of the party and their clout which is leading to this bipolar nature of the contest.
Right. And if you look at it right from 2004 to 18, half of Karnataka's 224 seats, they witnessed a direct contest between 2 major parties. But what was really remarkable is that the BJP strike rate, which is almost 60%. What do you attribute to that reason?
Yediyurappa.
218, oh, it's Yediyurappa. It's not Modi at the center.
It is not. See, the thing about Karnataka is that it is the first state where the BJP, as they use in their word, the lotus blossomed. And it did not blossom because of the central leadership. It blossomed because of a local leader called Yediyurappa, who had in fact ensured that the party is built, of course, with Ishwarappa and Jagadish Shettar, who built the party, had a base for the party, and at the same time the famous television drama, which I would call, where unfolded. He spoke about how he was betrayed by JDS leader with whom they were having a 2020 government, as they called it. And Yediyurappa came across the large population as being wronged. So Yediyurappa is the only reason why the strike rate kept improving for the BJP. And he is a mass leader. And unlike other BJP leaders, Yediyurappa is seen as a person or a face who is acceptable to all communities, including the Muslim community, Christian community, the Kodava community. He's an acceptable face for all. And therefore, he's technically the only mass leader that the BJP has been able to produce in Karnataka.
Right. MC Abbas, who's a political commentator, is also joining me in this broadcast. Mr. Abbas, Varghese was we are discussing, of course, the bipolar context in Karnataka, which has now become the norm. It's not an exception anymore. And we were just talking about how, if you look at from 2004 to 2018, BJP seems to be having a brilliant strike rate, Mr. Abbas. He attributed to Yediyurappa. What do you think is the reason that smaller parties have been, regularly and frequently eclipsed in Karnataka when it comes to the elections?
Absolutely. Sudhaji, always a pleasure being on your show. Have great
Likewise.
Regards and respect towards you and your great work. Thank you, ma'am. And what a coincidence it is. I see Mr. Varghese here. 5 years back when I contested the assembly elections, had the opportunity to form an interview with him as well. Now, coming directly to your question, I think the Natika in Karnataka has absolutely begun. What do we see here? Ma'am, your analysis is on point. The fact of the matter, largely, Karnataka has been bipolar. All guns blazing competition between the BJP and the Congress, and of course, JDS being playing the role of a kingmaker when there is a hung assembly, as we call him the lucky CM Kumaraswamy. Nevertheless, coming straight to the point, why have the other smaller parties eclipsed by these two dominant parties, which is the BJP and Congress? Largely, see if we see the vote bank, the way it's split across. And Karnataka does certainly vote on the caste. And my friend Verghese was absolutely right about it. Yediyurappa is a leader who, en masse, the Lingayat vote bank comes through. This is a Veerashaiva Lingayat, followed by a Sadra Lingayat like a Baswaraj Bamai and Jagadish Shettar and others to follow. One plus point and advantage of the Lingayat vote bank is that they en masse do not divide their votes. They come out and support their leader, which is B.S. Yediyurappa. The same reason why in the 2013 elections, what did we see? A Yediyurappa forming his own Karnataka Janata Pakshe, which led to the Congress coming into full power, without a fractured mandate. But then again, 2018, when he joined back, it was a different scenario with the majority seats going to BJP, but then yet again, fractured mandate, they couldn't really form it. Now, if you see the pattern of 2008, 2018 has been quite similar. BJP gets over above 104 2008, 110 2018, and Congress 80 at 2008 and at about 80 in 2018 as well. 2013, that showed the power and the influence the Lingayat vote bank has and Yediyurappa he has. That is where about 14% of votes were taken away by him. Now, if you see 2023 elections, I would certainly say is the mother of all elections. And for BJP, the South bastion they hold in Karnataka is indeed the most important
Right,
one, be it
right,
for Modi ji, Amit Shah ji, and Nadda ji as well. We have been seeing a fight for the tickets which is coming through,
right,
but nevertheless, we see that in Congress party and the BJP as well.
right.
The fact of the matter, looking ahead, 2023, I sit here and tell you, as a political commentator analyst, is going to be an absolute neck and neck finish.
Right.
It is very difficult. Many of the parties might come and say today, D.K. Kumar made a statement. He will get more than 150 seats.
Right.
But that is again,
Abbas,
I feel a jumla. Because the way it is going now, with the vote bank and the share, it is definitely going to be a hung assembly, a fractured mandate.
oh,
Yes,
okay.
Sudhaj.
So you are already predicting. But you gave me a very good talking point, Abbas, and let me turn to Verghese now. Verghese, Lingayat vote, strong bastion. Yediyurappa being the fulcrum around which everything revolved. But now with the change, Shettar going away, Yediyurappa retiring, Savadi also going away. Do you think that particular thing, that bastion, will kind of get a little disturbed so far as the BJP is concerned? Will it be to the advantage of Congress, or better still, will it be the advantage of the JDS?
Well, it will be advantage for the Congress because most of the Lingayat votes are, as I said, in North Karnataka, Central Karnataka.
Right.
So it will be towards the Congress because over there JDS doesn't have the kind of a presence that they would want to have because they don't have any strong Lingayat leaders who would, it's seen most like a Vokalika party. But the issue over here, as you rightly pointed out, is that the people who build this party, who have been the foundation of this party in the state, they are not there in the forefront of matters. And we cannot blame the BJP for looking into this kind of a situation because the BJP is also looking at a generational change which they have to anyway cater to.
And also, sorry to interject, they experimented in Uttar Pradesh.
They are successful with that also.
It was a success.
It was a successful this thing. So they are looking at a longer term vision. Probably this coming elections might not be what the BJP is looking at being in power. They are trying to in fact ensure that they can be in power for the next 10-15 years if they make a generational change. So here we are probably looking at a restructuring of the party, as we would call it corporate, restructuring an organization like that. We are looking at a restructuring of the party.
Right.
It's trying to get the second line leaders into the forefront. It is trying to get the third line leaders into the second line leadership. So these are the factors because we see a huge number of debutants coming in this election.
Right.
So these are the people who are going to drive the party in the future. So this is clearly more of a restructuring process that's happening, which is advantageous to the Congress.
Abbas, let me come to you now. There is bipolarity which prevails in what we know as Bombay, Karnataka and the coastal belt. I mean, the BJP has traditionally shown more reliance on the triangular contest, as it were. Will that also undergo a change this time? Will it also become, two parties vying for, who gets ahead of who?
The fact of the matter, Sudhaji, if you closely look at the Karnataka elections, the way it's always been an advantage to the opposition party. 2008 trend, 2013 trend,
Right.
2018. What I'm looking at is back then, 2013, the Congress did come into power and they had the majority. But we saw the swing in 2018. What I certainly see is, and agree with the point my friend Varghese has made, is there will be a transitional shift here. I certainly see that the Congress getting a little more seats, in the coastal belt. Again, which has been quite strong where BJP is, at least the vote percentage might increase by a bit. Also, the Hyderabad Karnataka, the Bombay Karnataka touching towards the Maharashtra, it is undoubtedly quite strong with the BJP, but Congress, there will be a slight shift. But coming to the seats, undoubtedly, one statement I can prophesize and make here is the Congress party will have a much better vote percentage, and not just that, a better strike rate than 80. They've been 80 on two ends, 2008 and 2018. 2013 is when they had the majority. But this time, even if Congress is able to inch towards the 90-100 mark, then it is a definite threat to the BJP. Also, as a matter of fact, let me tell you, the vote bank is kind of split here. Lingayat to the Vokaliga to the Kuruba to the Muslim community and so on and so forth. Let me also share a couple of details with you. What did we see the trend previously with the format of Muslim voting? Blindly voting for the Congress. When I have spoken to a lot of youth, a lot of social leaders, religious leaders, so on and so forth, there is a certain level of strategic voting
Right.
coming into place. This does not mean you blindly vote for a Congress. You vote for a party which is secular and able to beat the other dominant party.
Right.
So there is quite a good amount of strategic voting there, which might hit the chances of the BJP.
Right.
And also the other fact in 30 seconds I want to talk about is, what do we see here? Today, Jagadish Shettar joining the Congress, will it really impact or not is something which is going to play. Where I see, the Hubli Dharwad, 6-time MLA being there and not being given a ticket, I honestly think, restructuring is great. But certain leaders, you cannot set the cat among the pigeons to them, because this will definitely hinder the party. The longer the race for the horse, the better it is prospect
Right.
to hold the horse and keep him play.
Right,
But if you're going to let go of a Laxman Savadi or even Jagadish Shettar, it's going to be very difficult for them. But then again, which party there is no infighting?
Yeah, and
Even in
many
Congress,
more,
we see
and
a
many
Jagadish
more. That's
Kumar
the
and
interesting
Ramayya
part,
comrades.
that how will the shift actually impact this time's Karnataka elections, and that's what I started with, saying that it's going to be very, very interesting. So, Varghese, tell me something. Now you say it's a bipolar contest in Karnataka, two big parties, they are fighting for space. But look at the JDS, it's always played kingmaker. It's always been, and it has a lot of presence amongst the Vokkaligas, amongst a particular dominant, dominant in several other names, not just numbers. Now with this, JDS will be squeezed. And if the JDS is squeezed because the two giants are fighting amongst themselves, then the BJP, I think, will have to work much harder, because the votes will then go to the Congress. So do you think BJP has any kind of strategy to overcome this, Varghese?
Well, the first thing they try to do is, in fact, have more overtures towards the Vokkaliga community, because they have two Vokkaliga leaders, that is R. Ashok as well as Shobha Karandlaje, whom they had been depending upon. But the bigger question is, have they been able to effectively make those inroads in the JDS belt, or what we call as the Gowda belt? Over there, of course, the sway is between the Congress as well as the JDS in these areas as well, because of the farming community, the Kaveri Basin region. It has its own kind of politics that plays around between the JDS as well as the Congress. So the JDS, to a large extent, has been so limited geographically when it comes to its presence, and it has been only holding on to the Mysore region because of the specific caste issue.
Sure.
So because of that, again, as I said, the BJP might not be the person or the party that we are looking at a direct contest in the old Mysore region. We are looking at a Congress-JDS direct contest in those regions. So the JDS will survive. It's a survival. But if you ask the other two parties, it is a nuisance factor, because this party has been playing the kingmaker, as you said, with just 35 seats.
Or a spoiler.
Or spoiler. Yeah,
may.
it's a spoiler, whichever way
Yes.
you can. So for them, they would love to see the JDS not there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you are short of numbers, the only party to go to is the JDS. And we have seen the interesting the formula that was there.
Of course.
You had the Kumaraswamy, the chief minister of a party
Yeah.
that had around 37 MLAs compared to the Congress, which was the larger force in the coalition, but it did not succeed. So these are the games that you'll have to, or the compromises that you have to do when you have to come to power. But significantly, JDS has a role to play when it comes to overall politics. But on the ground, it's kind of bipolar contest in origin.
Right. You know, Abbas, let me take that question to you as well. You know, politics is about being smart, thinking on your feet. One knows the importance of JDS, you know, it's a very strong regional party. But you speak in the context of bipolar contest between two major parties. Verghese says, well, it's going to be Congress versus JDS. But my whole point is, that is JDS allowing itself to be squeezed deliberately so that they have a larger role to play when none of the parties, or rather either of the parties, don't secure a majority?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, Sudhaji, I'm glad we are speaking of Mr. Kumaraswamy. There's a very funny saying in Kannada. You know, it goes like this, you know, no matter who comes into power, Congress or BJP, Pradhan Mantri will be, sorry, Mukhyamantri will be Kumaraswamy. That's a known factor. The fact is, yes, 2 points. Yes, they do play the role of a spoiler, and also they play the role of a kingmaker. That is the same reason why you're absolutely right on the analysis, you and Verghese bhai. The fact that a Kumaraswamy undoubtedly plays a certain centrifugal force when there is a fractured mandate. That is when, with the might of a Kumaraswamy, and you never know. Let me share an inside sources secret with all of you. Apparently, as per my little birdie tells me, that many of the JDS MLAs are looking forward to go with BJP post polls. What does that mean? Kumaraswamy and Devegowda Sahab need to abide by it, or they will meet the same fate as Shiv Sena of Uddhav Thackeray. So therefore, that comes into play. Now, even if they wish to, or they come out and say, no, no, we'll not form the government with BJP, we'll keep open talks with Congress, that is really the MLAs will decide what it is. And also, we've seen Kumaraswamy time and again going back on his word. And we also saw the Appa Maga drama, the father and son drama, saying that Devegowda made a statement, no, we'll never form with BJP. But then what did we see? Yediyurappa and Kumaraswamy formation. So this is like they call the Nataka in Karnataka, which plays out beautifully. And also in the ticket distribution, what do we see? A JDS being called a Appa Maga party, father and son party, where first family later praja. But nevertheless, where isn't that dynastic politics? We see that in Congress, we see that in BJP. BJP, which says that we, you know, calls Rahul Gandhi Shehzada, and we do not believe in family dynastic politics, has about 53 seats where they're given to politics and their family members.
Right. Verghese, I want to ask you, you say it was Yediyurappa all through when we spoke about how in a bipolar contest, it's BJP which always gets ahead 60%. You look at all the years, whether it was 8, it was 18, it was, you know, even before that, wherever, you know, the BJP there is in a bipolar contest, it does much, much more impressively than the other. But the point is, that's what, you know, you've told me, a lot of my journalist friends have told me, that it is only Modi's posters that one sees, you know, in, at least in Bengaluru, So are you saying, and you know the kind of Nataka that unfolded when Basavaraj Bommai took over, the cabinet formation, R. Ashoka sulking, so and so threatening to resign. You know, that's my first question. That do you think that the national leadership will not impact? Number two, with Yediyurappa actually almost berating, you know, Savadi and the other person, that is Shettar, saying, what do you want? You've been given everything. We would have accommodated you. Will that impact voters going to these two stalwarts, as it were, you know, not just in their own constituencies, but also, I think, caste stalwarts?
Well, if you look at the way, since we're talking about Jagadish Shettar has been winning for almost 6 times. Now, this would, I mean, if he had got the ticket, it would have been a 7th thing. But if you look...
And he's not even that old.
He's 67. He's 67. And if you look at how people in North Karnataka vote, they vote on a leader loyalty than the party loyalty.
Okay.
So that is how it has been. Now, that's why Yediyurappa comes into play, because he's been able to cultivate leaders from the BJP to which the votary has been loyal to. That is the reason why the BJP has been getting this kind of strike rate that we've been seeing. But now the question is, when Shettar moves away, a 6-time MLA from Hubli Dharwad, of course, it was not based on the fact that it's from his particular ideology that he has been, because we have seen how a lot of turncoats in the previous election, they won the by-election just because of their personality. They did not win because of the loyalty to the party. So since that is an effective, what I would call the unknown factor in Karnataka politics, where since leader loyalty is more important than being loyal to an ideology of the party, it is a factor that we have to see whether, when people like Jagadish, Shettar and all exist, how would the local population in fact see it? They would probably look at, for example, from Hubli Dharwad, they would probably look at their leader being given a very raw deal. They would look at a betrayal on him. So it is a factor that would work.
So the
sympathy factor would be coming
for
in.
For a stalwart that, he was. So you think that will work?
That will in fact work better, because the politics of North Karnataka is very different from the politics of South. South Karnataka has still been driven not by individuals but by ideologies. But in North Karnataka, it is more about the landed groups and the kind of families that have been there.
Abbas, let me come to you. Now, Bengaluru apparently, and these are statistics that I was reading about, comes right on top when it comes to a bipolar contest. Also Kittur, Karnataka, then comes coastal Karnataka. Now, with all these senior leaders bidding adieu and saying that we are going, in all these 3 regions, is it going to impact the prospects of the BJP, and will it be advantage Congress, Abbas?
This is going to be very, very difficult, Sudhaji, as a matter of fact. Right. In the world of politics, it ain't over till it's over, until the last vote is polled. Where I see Bangalore coming through is, there is a section, South Bangalore, which has been quite a strong belt of the Sangha, the RSS, and the BJP supporters. We do see widely. But what did we see last time? In the south, if you see at Bangalore, we saw BTM layout being won by a Raminga Reddy of the Congress. Jayanagar, again, there was an election, there was a by-election, which was won by his daughter, Soumya Reddy. So we did see a slight shift coming through there. Undoubtedly, I think one important point, again, Buggy's made, I'd like to take that forward as well. There is a leader loyalty factor which certainly exists in North Karnataka and a few other seats in the belt of Congress, which is coming through. Also, if you look at this factor, there are 2 main factors which play, I tell you. Even in pockets and remote villages of Karnataka, there is a Modi word which spreads. A Modi poster works wonders. A Modi rally does signify the pattern of vote shifts towards the BJP. Undoubtedly, Modi will be a factor, not a very large one, but a significant one. Also, yes, Yediyurappa undoubtedly is a strong stealth force, which even the BJP couldn't deny him to make the chief minister. And mind you, it was his word that made CM Bamai, and his word and nomination, along with the observers and leaders of BJP, to make Bamai the chief minister, who's again a Lingayat. So these 2 factors, but Congress advantage will be the anti-incumbency which will come through. There is undoubtedly anti-incumbency. The polls done by many of the local Kannada channels show 60 towards Congress, 40 towards BJP. Now 50-55 Congress, 45-50 to a BJP. It's a tough fight. But undoubtedly, the factor of Modi will be there, a Yediyurappa factor, BJP's anti-incumbency factor. So there is going to be this dynamic shift which could go either way. And mind you, polls could say anything.
Right.
By the way, even exit polls too. But what happens on the day of polling, when you go there, see the ballot, see the respective leaders, the symbols for votes, and when you vote, until then, you never know which way it will swing.
Yeah, and it's better not to punt, when it comes to elections, because a lot of times, a lot of people have got it very, very wrong, Abbas. So it's better that we wait till the results are out, and that's what we do here on News9. Varghese, I want to ask you something. The fact of the matter is that, because it's become a bipolar contest, that's what we are discussing today. Do you think that the role of small parties is willy-nilly now over? Do you think that smaller parties will have to, perforce, merge into bigger parties for their existence? I'm not talking about JDS, but there are several small parties. Remember, even when Jagadish, Shettar and everyone, I mean all these stalwarts were resigning, there was talk that maybe we will stand there as an independent, but they did not take that stand. Because how much can an independent really impact? So if you want to have an impact, then don't you think that it's better to be part of a larger party?
Yes, it is better to be part of a larger party, and in Bengaluru, we have the CPM contesting from KR-Puram. Nanjegowda is the candidate for them, and the reason why they are going ahead and trying to stand from there is because in KR-Puram you have a large factory workers association, trade union movement is strong in that particular constituency. So, but still, the entire political imagination of Karnataka is between these three parties, and majority between BJP and this thing. So, for anyone to stand up, for example, there have been a party called Prajakya by actor Upendra who's trying to, come into the. AAP has been trying to come into the picture. So many small parties have been trying, but as of now, the loyalty is for these two parties.
Right.
And when it comes to JDS.
All right. So you've said it almost, and we can wrap now that it is indeed going to be a bipolar contest this time around in Karnataka. MC Abbas, thank you so much for joining us. And we hope that Karnataka is great fun to watch and also experience. That's all we have for now. For news and analysis, keep watching News 9 Live.